Have you ever done something in the heat of the moment and later thought, what did I do that? Maybe you replied too fast. Maybe you walk away from someone too quickly. Maybe you said yes when you should have said no. Or maybe you said no when your heart was telling you to try. We all do this. And the strange part is that the moment the decision feels right, it feels strong, it feels honest. But later, when the emotions calm down, we start seeing things more clearly. Was I too emotional? Was I too practical? Should I have followed my heart? Or should I have listened to my mind? Hello, everybody, welcome back. Today, let's talk about something very real. Something that affects our relationship, our work, our dreams, and even our peace of mind. Emotional decisions and practical decisions. Which one is better? Which one should you choose? And more importantly, how do you know when to use your heart and when to use your mind? Because the truth is, life is not as simple as always follow your heart or always be practical. If life were that simple, we would all make perfect decisions. But we don't. We are human, and being human means we feel deeply. We get hurt, we get excited, we get scared, we get hopeful, we get angry, we get attached. And all of these feelings can save the choices we make. Let me explain it in a simple way. Think about driving a car. Your emotions are like the fuel. They give you energy. Without emotions, life would feel empty. You would not dream big. You would not love deeply. You would not care enough to try. But your mind is like the steering wheel. It gives directions. It helps you to stay on the road. It helps you avoid danger. Now imagine a car with a fuel but no steering wheel. It may move fast, but it will not go where it should. It may even crash. That is what happens when emotions take over completely. Now imagine the opposite. A car with a steering wheel but no fuel. It has directions but it cannot move. That is what happens when we become too practical and forget how to feel. So the real answer is not choosing one and rejecting the other. The real answer is learning balance. Let me tell you something. A young man once worked at the same company for years. He was hardworking, he came on time, he did his job well. But one day his manager criticized him in front of everyone, not in a private, but kindly in front of the whole team. He felt embarrassed, he felt angry, he felt disrespected. And in that moment, he did not think clearly. He stood up, walked into the manager's office, and said, I quit. For a few minutes, he felt powerful. He felt like he had defended himself. He felt like he had shown strength. But after the anger passed, reality came back. Rent still had to be paid, food still had to be bought, his family still depended on him, and finding a new job was not easy. Now, was quitting wrong? Not always. Sometimes leaving a bad place is the right things to do. But living in anger without a plan, without thinking about the future, that is where the problem began. That was not a wise decision. That was an emotional decision. And emotional decisions can feel strong in the moment but weak later. Now let's look at the other side. There was a woman who always wanted to start her own business. She had an idea, she had a talent, she could see the future she wanted. Every time she thought about starting, her practical mind started speaking louder. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I lose my savings? What if this is a bad idea? So she waited and waited and waited. Year passed. She kept planning, she kept thinking, she kept telling herself she was being careful. But deep down, she was also afraid. And fear can sometimes wear the mask of practicality. That is the tricky part. Sometimes we think we are being smart, but really we are just scared. Sometimes we call it being realistic, but really we are just avoiding risk. And because of that, many people never start. They never try, they never know what could have happened. So now we have two people. Once made decisions with too much emotions, on the other made decisions with too much fear, and both lost something. One lost stability, the other lost opportunity. That is why balance matters so much, because emotions are not bad and practically is also not bad. The problem begins when one completely controls the others. Let's talk about relationship for a moment. This is where many people struggle the most. Have you ever stayed in a relationship because your heart said maybe things will get better? Even when your mind was saying this is hurting you. That is emotional decisions making. You remember the good moments, you remember the promises, you remember the love you felt in the beginning, and because of that, you ignore the sign. You ignore the pain, you ignore the truth. On the other hand, some people leave too quickly. They face one problem, one misunderstanding, one bad day, and they walk away immediately. No conversations, no effort. That is also not always wise. Because not every hard moment means the relationship is over. Sometimes love needs patience. Sometimes it needs communications. Sometimes it needs time. So again, the answer is not emotions alone. And it is not a logic alone. It is knowing when to feel and when to think. Now let's bring this into everyday life. Imagine you are tired. You had a bad day. Someone upset you. You feel like quitting your job. You feel like sending a harsh message. You feel like making a big decisions right now. But pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I deciding this because it is right or because I am hurt? That one question can save you from many regrets, because emotions are powerful but they are also a temporary. What feels unbearable today may feel small tomorrow. What feels exciting today may feel foolish tomorrow. That is why we should never make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. At the same time, do not become so practical that you stop listening to your heart. Some of the best things in life begin with emotions. Love begins with emotions, dream begin with emotions, courage begins with emotions. If every person only thought about safety, nobody would ever start anything new. Nobody would ever fall in love. Nobody would ever build anything meaningful. Nobody would ever take a chance. So yes, emotions are important. They give life meaningful. They remind us that we are alive. But emotions need guidance. They need a calm mind to help them move in the right directions. Let me say it this way. Your heart tells you what matters. Your mind tells you what you work. Your hearts give you the reason. Your mind gives you the plan. You need both. If you only have the mind, you may stay safe but never truly live. So what should you do when you face a big decisions? First, feel what you feel. Do not ignore your emotions. Be honest with yourself. If you are hurt, admit it. If you are scared, admit it. If you are excited, admit it. then slow down. Do not rush. Give your mind time to speak. Ask simple questions. What will happen tomorrow? What will these decisions cost me? Will I still be proud of this choice later? Will this help me grow or will it only help me react? These questions do not kill emotions, they protect it. Think about the people you admire most. They are not perfect, but they know how to handle their emotions. They do not react too quickly. They take a moment to think. Sometimes they follow their heart and listen to their mind, and that balance is what makes them mature, strong, and wise. So, if you are standing at a crossroad in your life right now, do not be ashamed of your emotions. Do not be ashamed of your logic either. Use both. So, whatever decisions you make it thoughtfully, not in a hurry. Give yourself time to choose a path that keeps your future safe. One day you will look back at your life and realize that many of your biggest moments came down to a single choice. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Until next time, take care of yourself and make choices you can live with peacefully. Thank you.